Welcome in all. We're back and very excited to finally share our first thoughts on the rookie class. We've now been looking obviously into the rookie class for quite a while, especially really digging in the last couple weeks preparing for this video or actually live stream that we're going to be making our first rookie mock in. You can stay tuned. We'll probably be doing another rookie mock, maybe with some landing spots. Spoiler alert, before the NFL draft. But I do think this is very important to do a rookie mock with no landing spots, so we can get an idea of who these players are. Obviously, once we get the draft capital, the landing spots, things will change, but it's a very, very good exercise to know where we stand in these players in a pre-draft process. So if they surprise us with their landing spot, draft capital, we can appropriately, adjust the ranks, all that good stuff. So Dan, I'm very excited. And the one thing, Dan, before I turn it over to you, is for everyone watching, you've probably heard 1,000 times how bad this rookie draft class is. Kind of my take personally is like, this is a great opportunity to just bet against the narrative, because if everyone believes, literally everyone believes, in to varying degrees, like some people don't even want to touch these picks. Well, if no one wants to touch these draft picks, I will, because it's the most simple concept. Every single player in the NFL that we're using in fantasy, they have to come out of the draft at some point. Sure, a lot of them are great prospects, but a lot of them are also not good prospects. One of the biggest trendy names right now, I know you're buying right now, Dan, is Parker Washington, who was like a fifth, sixth, what was he, a seventh round pick? Something like that.
Late, yeah.
The point is that like, you just never know. What you want in fantasy, especially, is to get these exciting rookies, get these mystery boxes on your benches. So I'm definitely pro buying up these cheap picks. We'll start talking about what we think about these players individually. I'm not trying to hype up the class by any means. I'm just trying to say they're so cheap. That's just kind of my general take on the rookie class. I'll turn it over to you, Dan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's an old saying, if everyone is thinking the same thing, no one is thinking. So, yes, of course, there's some truth to the fact that it's probably not as strong a class as we're normally used to seeing. But there are still some exciting players in here, and I'm getting more and more excited about the players in the class. The more I learn about them, the more I watch them. We definitely have been doing some homework over the past few months here, especially over the past few weeks. And I definitely have a better grasp of these rookies than I've ever had. And like I said, the more I'm learning, like the more excited I'm getting about it. So I'm excited to finally talk about some of these rookies here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, we won't waste too much time jumping into this. We will start off the draft just jumping in by the 101, which should be, oh shoot. Let me just change the draft settings here real quick, because it's now not letting me, oh boy. Okay, here we go. It's not letting me like pick between receivers and running backs. I'm just fixing that real quick.
And make sure you choose linear order rather than snake.
Yeah, I got that. All right, perfect.
Okay.
Now we can draft receivers, tight ends, all that good stuff. So, anyways, at the 101, it should be no surprise at all. We have Jeremiah Love, and I'm really not going to bore anyone here when it comes to Jeremiah Love. If you really want to dive into the Jeremiah Love stuff, again, we'll probably reference Josh and Hayden. They're making a bunch of rookie videos for you guys that really want to dig deeply into their tape, all that stuff like that. Highly recommend that. But as far as Jeremiah Love, he's the clear 101. If you own the 101, you're not thinking about taking anyone else here. Do not do that, ever. If you, for some reason, don't like Jeremiah Love for one reason or another, you could explore a trade out, a trade back. This pick, I would just say, you're basically going to want the return of, really at this point, we're looking at Justin Jefferson, Ashton Genty, assets in that range of basically a guaranteed top 16 asset in Dynasty. That's how you should be at minimum valuing Jeremiah Love if you're trading him.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, even if you're not crazy about him for whatever reason, he's still the pick, because you can draft him and then you can trade him and you can trade back a pick or two and get the player that maybe you think is best in the class and a whole bunch of stuff on top. Even just moving up, people that are moving up from even just the 102 to the 101 are paying a ton to just move up that one spot and get Jeremiah Love. it kind of feels like a first round pick on top of the 102 is
At
kind of the
least.
starting point to start that conversation. I mean, at the minimum, like a late 26 first, if not a random 27 first. I mean, that's just to kind of like start it. You probably might even need to throw something on top of that. So don't just throw away that value. I mean, if you want to take someone else, like that's fine, but make sure you're getting your value. These are trade pieces that you're drafting. Draft the best trade piece.
Yeah, we should add, probably a 27 first is a starting point for looking to trade back. I've seen people asking about the 102 and the 103 for the 101. So that's the kind of stuff you can get for trading back. The 101 is clearly in a tier of its own. I don't think we need to waste any more time talking about that. Jeremiah Love is the guy. Dan, I will pass it off to you at the 102. Who are you going to select?
Yeah, so the 102, this is probably the toughest choice of the whole draft here. I'm sure this is where you talked about it in a short, Blake, where a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just it's a super flex. You got to take the quarterback. You got to take Mendoza. No, we're definitely not doing that. Definitely check out the short if you want more information about that. But I definitely value the wide receiver position here, or especially given the talent in this class here. But it's a tough choice because choosing between these three wide receivers is really tough. It's really close between the three of them. I think you could basically put them in just about any order. I'm going to go with Mekhi Lemon here, though, wide receiver out of USC, 21-year-old receiver, career 3.02 yards per route run, which is just absolutely insane. He's the only wide receiver of the class who's top 5 in yards per route run against both man and zone. So I think that's awesome that he's versatile, and especially with how much the NFL is moving to zone defense. So, but I think it's great that he can do both. I just like what I saw watching him. I mean, great quickness and agility. He's great with the ball in his hands. He's 8th in the class in yards after catch per reception. He's also 8th in the class in missed tackles forced per reception. So, he's great with the ball in his hands. I love to see that. I love to see that yak ability. And he just seems like he has great tenacity. He's got that dog in him. My comp for him personally, and just in general, like when I make, I'm going to make some comps throughout this mock draft. It doesn't mean that I think they're going to be this player. It doesn't mean that I think they're the same quality as the player I'm comping them to. It's just what player was I reminded of when I watch him. And I thought of Steve Smith Sr. when I was watching Mekhi Lemon. So I loved what I saw. He's also been getting comparisons to like Amon-Ra St. Brown, which of course is, pretty easy comparison since both USC wide receivers, both primarily slot receivers. Although the cool thing that I love about Mekhi Lemon is that he's got a career 3.6 yards per route run when lined up outside. So that is absolutely huge. That definitely alleviates any concerns that, is he just going to be like a Josh Downs or Jaden Reed kind of part-time player, slot only wide receiver. That is not a concern with when you hear a stat like that. I pretty much love everything about him. Like I'm excited to draft him at the 102.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I'll just add, I've seen a lot of people, especially in these Dynasty ranks, just knock him a little bit simply because they're talking about him as a slot-only player. And, I mean, number one, being a slot predominant player in fantasy these days is like goldmine. That is what you want. The issue is, yes, you need to stay out there in 2 wide receiver sets like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, guys of that nature, so that you aren't a Jaden Reed, Josh Downs. In the 3.6 career yards per run, or I don't know if that was a career or just this past season. He was one of the best receivers, though, outside in this draft class. The inside-out ability is exactly what you're looking for in these slot predominant players, and he has that. And yes, he has the yards after catch, all that great stuff. Very excited about Mekhi Lemon, and I agree. Between these top 3 receivers, I would say if there's one thing to take away from how we rank things today, this is probably the hardest thing to do, is just rank these 3 receivers right now without the landing spots. They're all different, basically, flavors of receiver. They all do different things well. They all have different weaknesses. I will not critique anyone out there for ranking these guys in any order. In fact, I am going to go at the 103, Dan, with Carnell Tate, which is funny because I mean, when we talk about Jordan Tyson, I might almost like Jordan Tyson more, but the reason I'm going to take Carnell Tate in here is I'm going to treat it as if we were drafting today. If we're going off the information we have today, and some of you guys might be drafting right now, like
True.
people do rookie mocks, and that's more so how we're treating this mock draft.
Even startup drafts, like someone DM'd me the other day, they were in a startup draft with rookies in it, and you can just draft the rookies now before the NFL draft, and he was asking my advice. So yeah, I mean it does happen.
Yeah, and so I cannot say to draft Jordan Tyson today over Carnell Tate. That could change pre-draft. I'll save the Tyson stuff for when we get to him, in a pick or two here. But yes, Carnell Tate, he's basically, there's a lot of green flags with him. The big thing is, okay, he doesn't have the biggest, targets per route run, yards per route run, the biggest analytics. Green flags because, he's playing beside Jeremiah Smith, as we all know, one of the greatest wide receiver prospects, basically, in recent memory. So, that might be an understatement. Yeah, so, of course he's not going to show the, if he went anywhere else and played, he might be lighting up the analytics. I think there is a little bit of concern in the game. Now, this is not, I swear this is not an Ohio State kind of thing. My concern about like a Carnell Tate coming out though is he going to be kind of deployed like Marvin Harrison in the sense where like if he gets in the wrong system, maybe the wrong quarterback, just like wrong offensive environment, are they just going to line him up at X and just like make him earn everything? And basically, is he going to be more valuable to a real NFL team than he is going to be in fantasy? I think that's kind of my issue and why I definitely do not mind your ranking of like Lemon ahead of him, because Lemon is just going to be, potentially utilized in that slot, super high target rate. Where Tate, you can get kind of dicey with players like this. I do think he's good enough to completely overcome that, though. 3% drop rate, that's one of the biggest things on his tape. Strong hands, really clean route runner. Again, all these Ohio State guys are awesome. He might be one of the weaker Ohio State receivers coming out, though. So something to keep in mind is just, again, very hard to know when he's playing alongside Jeremiah Smith. We cannot really dink him for that. Today, Carnell Tate is my 103. I'll talk about Tyson when we pick him. Do you have anything to add to Carnell Tate, Dan?
Yeah, I do think that's the concern if he becomes that sacrificial X, as we sometimes hear players like that referred to. But at the same time, I mean, he just looks like that prototypical like NFL stud alpha X wide receiver. So I do like what I saw from him, and I mean, he just looks like a solid like wide receiver one on an NFL team to me. I mean, I think he's one of the safest picks here. I mean, just looks like an NFL wide receiver. And also he leads the class with a career 69% contested catch rate, which is exactly what you want to see with this kind of big-bodied wide receiver. He's not the fastest wide receiver in the world, so I don't know what kind of comps you've been hearing. Like I'm kind of thinking he's kind of in that like Drake London, Tet McMillan kind of mold. I've also heard that he's like a bigger Devonta Smith. I didn't quite see that. I also heard George Pickens, but a better separator. Both those two comps were from Fantasy Points. But I more so think of like the Drake London, like Tet McMillan kind of comparison personally. He's also only 21 years old. So, I think he's just like a rock solid pick here at the 103.
Yeah, and then, move on to the 104 here. This is your pick, Dan. Who are you taking at the 104?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Jordan Tyson here, wide receiver out of Arizona State. And I don't watch a lot of college football. So, when this time of the year comes, we're studying up on these rookies for Dynasty. I got to do some catching up and get my eyes on these guys. And Tyson was the first player that I watched in that process. And, man, like I was really happy with what I saw. I mean, like you were saying, Blake, I mean, he just, or at least alluding to, he just looks like the best wide receiver in the class. Like if you take out injuries and, also what injuries could do to negatively impact his draft capital potentially, he just looks like the best wide receiver in the class. So if you took injuries and those concerns out of it, like I think he would probably be the 102 for both of us, Blake. I mean, he's got a career 0.31 targets per route run, which leads the class. I mean, of course, we love to see early breakouts with these prospects, especially at wide receiver. At 18 years old, he had a 2.7 yards per route run, 20 yards per catch. He's got the best production profile of any wide receiver in the class, even despite battling the injuries. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much you can pick apart. I just love what I saw watching him. I mean, he looks explosive. He looks confident. He's great after the catch. I mean, he just looks like a stud.
Yeah. I mean, like, basically before all the injury stuff really started piling on because he wasn't testing, things like that. Yeah, he actually was again, not too confident in it, but like my wide receiver one. I know JJ Zacharysen's got him as wide receiver one in his production or in his Zap model as well. Basically, he was saying that unless he like fell in the first round, he would still be placed as the wide receiver one. He mentioned because his production profile, especially his breakout age, was just so good. I mean, I think there was a game where he had like nearly like 300 yards at 18 years old. Like, I mean, we have. I think you mentioned like a 31% target per route run, highest in the class. Yeah. 2.7 yards per route run at the age of 18, like some phenomenal stuff by him. Just imagine if he didn't, tear his ACL, blow up his knee, basically. I do think that is like a little bit. I mean, I have two opinions on it, basically. Like, I do think that's a good reason to try and potentially drop him because if he were to blow up his knee again, yeah, that's not what you want. There is some risk of. I mean, again, it's not the same thing as Jonathan Brooks because Jonathan Brooks was coming off the knee injury, but if you think. Like, he literally blew up his knee, and, like, look what happened to Jonathan Brooks. He immediately went from, like, a first-round rookie pick to, like, worth nothing. So I don't think, like, there's, that happened years ago. What was that, 2022 or 2023? So we're pretty removed off that. But there is still that chance of, like, getting injured. People are generally overstate the injury stuff. All these injuries he's dealt with have been, like, completely different. Like, hamstring, ankle, knee. So, like, to me... I kind of like that there's this whole injury concern going on. I know he is actively, again, this hamstring stuff is coming up. He's going to test, though, and I believe in a few days, maybe at the end of the week or something. So I'd be interested to see, how he tests. And I'm very interested to see, again, his draft capital. If he goes in the top 10 pretty firmly, I'm just going to wipe away all the injury stuff. I'm not going to worry about that at all. I'm basically not worrying about the injury stuff for my own evaluation on Jordan Tyson, but I do need to consider that in this mock draft, and if that is still a concern, maybe it reflects his draft capital. Just simply because, I'm not going to take him over Tate, because Tate is just a much safer Dynasty asset, and you should, you don't want to get stuck with, I think maybe the example of this is, Travis Hunter last year, where a lot of people were kind of sketched out. I would kind of say that's the case right now with Tyson and the injuries. You're going to have a lot of people that might just be off Jordan Tyson completely because of the injury history. People get really, really freaked out about that. So what I would say is be careful ranking, Tyson clearly as your 2 unless he gets that, wide receiver 1 draft capital. He's the first one taken on the draft and gets, this amazing landing spot. Just I would express caution, and I'm not saying don't draft him. I will say I think if he is the third receiver coming off the board, he'll probably be my most exposed receiver, draft wise. If there's a discount on him. So
I mean, it definitely feels like good value getting them at the 104. And I mean, of course, we love to chase upside in Dynasty and fantasy football in general for good reason. But sometimes we might get a little too carried away with it where, okay, we're chasing the upside with Travis Hunter last year, like you said, Blake. And I mean, at least at the moment, that kind of feels like a swing and a miss, even though we still think there's huge potential for him that could change. But at the moment, I mean, Travis Hunter's value is really down, whereas Ted McMillan is just a stud. So it's sometimes that's what happens when you just chase upside too much. Maybe Ted McMillan just should have been enough upside last year.
Yeah, it's not Hunter's a whole nother, because there's no other player that's going to come out that's playing corner. But I do think it could somewhat relate in this conversation because, for example, in Tate, even if you're not the most excited about Tate, even if you don't think his upside's as high as Jordan Tyson, the thing is, Tate has a pretty disappointing rookie year one. What did Tet score? 12 points per game, something like that.
I mean, it was nothing crazy, yeah.
As long as Tate does that, he'll maintain his value. If Tyson does that, but suffers some injuries, does the exact same thing as Tate, yeah, but he missed half the season with some lower body injury. People will start to like lower him in ranking. That's just the kind of stuff that you want to be aware of when you're drafting a player like that. So, the narrative might make him a little riskier of a pick, even if I or someone else, disagrees with that, with the concerns of the injury and all that. So.
And you can always trade off Carnell Tate, but he just seems like a safer asset that will hold his value for longer. Even just Tyson could always suffer another injury, like at any given time, like in practice, OTAs, like whatever. I think, depending on every dynasty league is different with how active the trade market is, but I just feel like Tate's going to be safer. You could always have a chance to move off of him if you're not like the most crazy about him.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm down to draft a lot of Tyson, but it's gonna be at pick 4 or 5 rather than 2 or 3.
Yeah, and I do think Tate. It shouldn't be that hard to have like a Tet McMillan kind of rookie season. So I think you made a great point about that. That like he'll probably hold his value for like at least a year.
Yeah, even if he doesn't do like what Tet did, look at, again, I guess like Marv's not like the greatest example because he has been lowering, but he's still well over worth more than a first right now. He's going in the 5th round of startup, something like that.
Yeah, and Marv was worth a ton
as well,
even after what felt like a disappointing rookie season, even though it wasn't like that horrible in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, another one is Odunze's done nothing. He's averaged less than 10 points per game through his career. And he's still the same value as he was when you drafted him. So and he's not even there's Loveland and Bird in there. So as long as these players again, I would say as long as they don't have like some big concerns, red flags potentially like people might have with Tyson, then you don't have to really worry about losing value. So that's I think the best way to put it is you are taking on some value risk or a little bit less insulation when you pick Tyson, but that should come at a cheaper price in your drafts. So if you can trade down and get some plus on top of Tyson, that might be worth it for you. I'm gonna move on here to the 105. I'm basically just
a quick question, Blake. With this live stream, do we want to periodically check in with the live chat and catch up on that, or do we just want to save that for the end and have this be a different kind of live stream than our normal?
Let's kind of just make it like a video, continue going through, and
Sounds
then
good.
if we want to catch up later, we can.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to Mendoza at the 105. And honestly, this is a good time now to, talk about the Mendoza, kind of my short. If you're thinking about taking Mendoza at the 102, do not do it. But just don't. I said this is kind of a litmus test because I see a lot of creators saying to draft Mendoza at 102, as you were alluding to before. He's a quarterback. That's the argument. Well, that's not a very good argument because if you are in the Dynasty community right now, if you're actively doing startups, you're looking at rankings, if you're in touch with the Dynasty, what's going on in Dynasty right now, quarterbacks have been falling like we've never seen before. And even if you think he should still go with the 102, well, look at what you could trade that 102 into. There's really only I mentioned, there's maybe 3 guaranteed quarterbacks that are worth more than the 102, and then that you're going to talk guys like Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence. Again, and so do you think Mendoza is going to be Patrick Mahomes? In our listener league startup, I got Mahomes after the 102. So there is just no argument for me. Basically, in the easiest, just don't take Mendoza at 102. If you want to take him, trade down, and you can look to get him later, or just trade the 102 for one of these other quarterbacks. Add to it, try to get Mahomes, one of these guys, or trade down. Whatever style. There's just so many different flavors of quarterback out there. The median outcome is he's not going to pay off the 102 price tag. And even if he does hit, he probably doesn't pay off the 102 price tag. And actually, I have one extra thing to add on to this. Even if he does hit in a CJ Stroud rookie season kind of way, guess what people are going to be saying? They're going to be like, oh, this is CJ Stroud all over again. People are going to learn from that mistake. And Mendoza is going to be, he's not going to be the first round rookie pick. There's really almost no outcome unless he's winning the Super Bowl year one and just like has like the biggest outlier season ever. So it's a losing bet in my opinion. I would highly recommend against it. And again, if he's at 104, 105, you want to take him, I have again no issue with that. The thing is, when you're at the 102, you have so much to do, just opportunity to trade that pick. There's just so much value in that pick. Do not make that pick. Mendoza, I have nothing against Mendoza. That's the biggest thing. He's got some rushing upside. His wide receiver one might be Jalen Naylor right now. Of course, it's really Brock Bowers. Good offensive system with Clint Kubiak. I like him more than Cam Ward for fantasy this rookie year, but I can't be too confident. I wouldn't say I'm like that much more confident in him. I'm not really relying on Mendoza. I think he'll just kind of be one of these replaceable quarterbacks. Year one would be my guess, Dan. What do you think about Mendoza?
Yeah, and I mean, responding to your earlier point about people that say to draft quarterback because it's a super flex league and take him like real early. Yeah, I mean, have you tried to trade a quarterback in a real dynasty league lately? It is not easy. Like it seems like they're really being devalued these days, and in any given league at any given time, like not that many people need a quarterback. Like most teams have two starting quarterbacks that they're pretty happy with, and they don't really want to like pay the price to because if you're thinking of drafting Mendoza, it's like, oh, he's gonna be a great trade piece. I don't need a quarterback, but he's gonna be a great trade piece. Well, I mean, good luck with that because like most teams are already gonna be set a quarterback in your dynasty league. So yeah, I wouldn't use that logic. It can get pretty dicey if you're drafting Mendoza as like a third quarterback because you think you're going to trade him. God knows when you'll actually have that opportunity to do that. So, I mean, beyond that, I don't have that much to say about Mendoza. I mean, honestly, like I don't even really like try to like scout quarterbacks that much for Dynasty. I mean, it's one of like the hardest things to do, even for NFL scouts whose job it is to scout quarterbacks. Yeah. So I kind of just trust like the draft capital and look at like, okay, do they have rushing upside? What kind of situation did they land in? Are they going to have like good coaches and good weapons around them, good offensive line that's going to put them in a position to be successful? So that's primarily what I'll be looking at. I'm not going to be, grinding, Mendoza tape and pretending like I know whether he's going to be like a good NFL quarterback or not. But yeah, honestly, like, I mean, I'm just guessing unless he really falls further than I would expect. Like I'm probably going to draft, zero Mendoza. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there could be one scenario where I need a quarterback and it makes sense, but I'm not expecting to draft much.
I would just say, when it comes to these quarterbacks, like don't get too caught up in like their draft like profile and the tape and all that stuff. The big thing is just rushing upside. Like, do they have that like literal QB1 overall elite rushing upside? Like that's where you want to be more like evaluating these kind of quarterbacks on. If not, they're mostly going to fall in this like replaceable range. And again, I mentioned that if you were really like trying to talk yourself into Stroud and Bryce Young and Cam Ward and all these other, again, pocket passers with similar rushing upside as Mendoza, I mean, you were taking these guys over, JSN, Gibbs, Henderson, Ted. Like, don't take the quarterback. Like that's basically, honestly, like rookie. I would say that's like kind of like if we made like a welcome to Dynasty video, it would be like stop drafting rookie quarterbacks. It's not because like they can't work out. It's just because like it's basically just it's not a good bet. Like it's a negative EV bet. Like there's a more likely chance you're going to lose value or utility in that rookie because rookies, especially ones that don't run, they don't return enough in the rookie season to even be worth the cost. One thing I'll add just to put this. Just to make sure no one drafts Mendoza at 102 unless you're like an 18-team super flex or something insane, right? Think about the 2027 class. Just think ahead for a moment. The one thing we know about this class is there's really strong in the quarterback position. So you know what's going to start happening when Mendoza has probably the most likely outcome, even if it's still pretty solid? People are going to start comparing Mendoza to the 27 class. And, is there a scenario where they're like, yeah, he'd be the QB4, QB5 in this class, even after a good rookie year? That is entirely possible. It's just like you can't win. I don't think that there's going to be you got to thread the needle perfectly if you think Mendoza's going to pay that 102. I highly recommend against it. Thank us later on that one. Again, you could still draft him. Just draft him at this 105 slot. that's much more.
And last thought, I totally agree with you that the upside is limited when you have like a quarterback that doesn't have elite rushing upside. Like, what's the most he's ever really going to be worth? It just doesn't feel like a great bet. But to say one positive thing about Mendoza, I actually do think. I mean, obviously, we're all expecting him to go 101 in the real NFL draft. Obviously, you can't get better draft capital than that, so that's a good starting point. And I do think it's a good landing spot with the Raiders. I mean, you got Kubiak there. I mean, I think that's huge. And in terms of the weapons, I mean, Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, I mean, that's at least a pretty good starting point. They can build on that. They'll hopefully add some receivers at some point, maybe even in this draft. Of course, they got to fix that offensive line. Like, that'll be important. But I have no doubt that they'll put the right pieces around them, that Kubiak will do that. So I actually do think it's a good landing spot. So just to say something positive about Mendoza, it's not like it's hopeless. And if you do need a quarterback, certainly someone you could consider at the 105.
Yeah, and actually, I just saw Randy in chat said like he'll gladly take Mendoza at 105, and like, hey, that's also like that's why I want to make it very clear. Like, I'll still gladly take Mendoza at the 105 right now. Yeah. Like I think that's still a pretty good pick. Again, like that's just where he should go. The big thing is just don't waste that value on the 102. And I agree. I think it's a really good landing spot for Mendoza year one with his weapons and system there.
And I do feel like, I mean, Blake, we didn't specifically like talk about tiers for this video, and obviously we might, have different tiers, disagree on that a little bit. But I mean, I kind of feel like there's a tier fall off after Jordan Tyson at the 104, and I feel like for me, Mendoza and the next few picks that we're going to be making here, to me, it kind of feels more and more like a similar tier, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably is more accurately. I would still say the 105 for me in like actual terms of rookie picks. Like when you're looking at the rookie picks right now, if you own them, the 105, because I think people are still going to take Mendoza 2, 3, and 4. So to me, for actual rookie picks, I want to get pick 5 is actually going to be my tier break.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in terms of like perceived market value. Maybe if you're a little higher on the next few guys in our mock, maybe it makes sense to trade back from the 105 and see what you can get if you don't want to take Mendoza. But yeah, maybe in terms of market value, I can kind of see your argument there.
Yeah, so we'll try to speed up a little bit on these other guys, but we went into great detail. The 5 most important prospects in this class, how to play them. Again, we're going to be moving on. What's going to be most people's kind of third tier here, I guess the B tier. This is a 0.75 premium we're doing for this draft. That's pretty important to note. It's kind of in the middle of that 0.5 and that full point premium that a lot of you guys play in. Dan,
pretty much, I think like kind of our default standard Dynasty league is like 12 teams, start 11, super flex, full PPR, and tight end premium of 0.75. And we usually play with 6-point passing touchdowns. So that's kind of like our standard default league settings, and that's basically what we're drafting for in this mock draft.
Yeah, and by the way, if you play in 4-point passing touchdown quarterbacks, whatever league, and you don't need a quarterback, I actually think that's where you could start considering taking maybe some guys that we would value at the 6 and 7 over, because quarterbacks are just even less valuable, even less demand on those 4-point passing. But let's move on to your 106.
Especially when they don't have the elite rushing upside.
Exactly, yeah. So let's move on to your 106 here, Dan.
So 106, I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon. I don't have like a ton to say about Sadiq here. I'm pulling up my notes here. But like basically, I'm just trusting. I mean, especially like his measurables. I mean, he did amazing at the combine. Had great numbers for the 40 and just like all the different testing there. And there's definitely a big correlation with with athleticism and how tight ends like end up faring in the NFL. He looked solid when I watched him. I don't feel like I'm like the best, scout, like when it comes to tight ends sometimes. Like sometimes like they don't always like jump out at me when I watch them, but they like end up being good. So I'm kind of just like trusting the experts here, trusting his measurables. Like I said, I think there's good correlation where there's a pretty good chance he'll end up being a good tight end, especially if he gets great draft capital. And by all accounts, he's expected to go in the first round pretty easily here. So I think it's a bit of like a upside bet, especially in these higher tight end premium leagues, like we're talking about 0.75 tight end premium. So I think you kind of just have to like swing for the fences here. Tight ends sometimes take a little longer to develop. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case with Sadiq. I remember, just in terms of like the coverage I've watched on him, I remember, that he's been compared to some tight ends that like took a little longer to develop, like Vernon Davis, and I forget a couple of the other names. Oh, I think like Eric Ebron. Certainly these days tight ends seem to be developing a lot faster. So, that could certainly be the case with Sadiq, but I think I'm just in a higher tight end premium. I'm just trusting the measurables, trusting the experts here, and I'm taking a swing on the tight end one in the class.
Yeah, I've been really struggling with Sadiq because he's basically the most athletic tight end to ever test at the combine, which is exactly what we want to see at the tight end position. There are also, a lot of red flags, and then some of it is like the production. In fact, people, again, are saying that, again, I'm not the biggest college football guy. We're basically learning about a lot of these players as we're diving in when the NFL season ends. He's not even apparently the best tight end on his team. I don't know if this other guy's coming out at 27 or 28, I forget his name, at Oregon. I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing. I could see that being a pro or a con for him. Just an interesting wrinkle. The production wasn't off the charts, but again, you look at a guy like, say, Tyler Warren, who was behind Brenton Strange and Theo Johnson. People were saying, well, why couldn't he beat those guys out? Well, those were NFL draft picks. Those are starting tight ends right now. And the thing with Sadiq is, he just had Terrence Ferguson come out there in round 2. Last draft class. So it's no wonder, he doesn't have the craziest production profile. I don't really know what to do with him. He's probably one of the players that I just wouldn't really want to even express a strongly one way or another. He's going to be one of those players on draft day that I really have to start formulating. I think he's going to be a big landing spot dependent kind of guy for me. I don't want to see him in one of those spots where you get that, old school head coach. I hope he goes kind of to a hip head coach that can kind of make him, one of those offensive kind of threats. Hopefully a guy with some tight end experience, some past tight end success right under his system. So I don't want to add too much to Sadiq. There's a big ceiling. I do think that there is a floor that is present that was not present for these Lovelands, these Warrens, and those types. I don't think he's that kind of prospect, basically, from everything I can tell. But is still, these first-round tight ends are really good bets if you've been drafting these guys in Dynasty ever since basically, since Dynasty has kind of came in this new era in the past, 5-10 years. Very good hit rates on those tight ends. I think he's a really solid 106, especially the higher the tight end premium. The more I'd be willing to consider drafting him. I'll move on to my 107, which is KC, otherwise known as Kevin Conception is his real name. And he's a guy that you've probably been hearing a lot if you guys have been looking at any other rookie mocks. He's been flying up boards. There's a lot of really, really good stuff I like on KC, not only because he has a pretty solid analytical profile, the tape guys love him as well. One thing I should have mentioned is that my favorite way to kind of look at rookies in these drafts is not to just trust my eyes. I am no scout at all. When we're referencing strengths and weaknesses, these are a lot of stuff that we're hearing from other sources. These are well-known things for the most part. And KC, a lot of scouts I would trust really, really like him. In fact, Matt Harmon did his reception perception on him. Green across the board, exactly what you want to see. Josh and Hayden love him as well. Also, his rookie freshman year, which I thought was a really fun stat I learned from the Josh and Hayden video, 41 carries as a freshman. He was lining up in the backfield, wildcat. He can be used as an offensive weapon. He won returner of the year in college last year. He is a complete threat with the ball in his hands. There is so much stuff to love about KC. The biggest question early on, was he going to be a first-round receiver? Basically seems like that's locked up. I would probably go as far to say, in a 0.75 premium, I think he would be my 106 KC today. Again, that could change with the Sadiq landing spot. because I just mentioned how torn I am on him, what to do with him. I think KC would be my 106 today. I really, really like him. And a lot of people are making arguments now. He could be in there with those top three receivers. He could even be the wide receiver one in this class. So I think it was almost like potentially, especially in those 4-point passing touchdown leagues, maybe you're in a 10-team league. I think you could potentially see KC bumping up into the top 5 rookie drafts post NFL draft. He gets that landing spot in that draft capital. So, yeah, I really like him.
I'm a little torn on KC Concepcion. I mean, I was hearing so many amazing things about him. I mean, he is getting so much hype. A lot of smart people are really, really high on him. Like you mentioned, Matt Harmon. And you looked at the reception perception chart and our chart, and you see that green everywhere. And yeah, I mean, at least on paper or based on the numbers, he seems to be the best separator in the class in terms of his route running, which is something that I personally love to see. Like I love receivers that can separate. So I mean, he was one of these guys that I thought, oh man, I'm going to be really high on this guy. Like I'm going to probably be higher on this guy than anyone else out there in the market. Like I'm probably going to, I might be taking him ahead of Mendoza or something crazy like that. And then I did finally watch him, and I have to admit I was a little underwhelmed, and I was pretty shocked because I was just expecting to be in love with this guy. Just in terms of my eye test, again, I'm no scout here. What the hell do I know? But just in terms of my eye test, he didn't jump off the screen to me, which really surprised me. So I think this is probably one of those instances where I'm going to trust the experts and I'm going to trust the numbers more than, my stupid eye test or whatever. So I think kind of balancing that, I'm probably just going to be at market on Concepcion. So yeah, I would say that I would take him right around here. I mean, maybe on the clock, with the money on the line, maybe I would go with the next player in our mock here over this guy. I think it'd be close, but I would say basically I'm going to, like I said, trust the numbers, trust the experts, ignore my eye test on this one, and basically be at market on KC. And also, there is precedent for that as well. The same thing happened with Ladd McConkey when he came out. I was hearing such amazing things about him. And the first time I watched him, maybe because my expectations were so high, I felt pretty disappointed. But the more I watched him, the more I kind of saw the subtleties in his game and just trusted all those other things that probably matter a lot more than my personal eye test. And so ended up being really high on McConkey and drafted him pretty highly. And yeah, that worked out great. So not trying to throw any cold water on him, but just something that surprised me when I watched him.
Yeah, and that's something with Tyson that I'm trying to be careful about because Tyson just jumps off on the tape to me. But actually, a lot of scouts want to kind of put some cold water on him about some inconsistency stuff that you're not going to see in the highlights. So I don't want to fully trust my eye on, say, Jordan Tyson. I do obviously really like him. We talked plenty about him. The thing with KC, and I can say the same thing about Ladd. I didn't think he was looked like the most killer tape guy ever, but we still really liked him. A lot of people trusted him. The analytics were great on him. So on all the pieces of the puzzle, when it comes to a player, if I don't think he's as electric or something as people think, just on his highlights, whatever it is, on his tape, targets, I'm not gonna put too much weight into my eye test on that. I want to trust all the other data, all the other puzzle pieces to do with it. I did think he looked extremely explosive on the stuff he was doing with his ball in his hands. He had some dog to him that I don't think a lot of people are talking to. The next guy in the mock also has the same
Can I just say
trait.
one more thing about Concepcion? And by the way, I hate saying his name. I don't know. There's just something that annoys me about it. So it's I want to just call him Conception because it's easier to say. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like some kind of snob, saying his name properly.
Yeah.
But he did have that early production as a freshman, 29% target share, 10 touchdowns, ACC Rookie of the Year. And you see him making so many big plays. I actually felt he didn't look that explosive to me. It was weird. He's making the plays, but he didn't look that fast, that explosive to me. So I don't know if it's one of those things where, he's just beating college defenders that aren't as athletic or whatever. But again, I'm only putting, so much stock into my eye test. I think I'm at least going to be at market with him, and I think there's a lot to like about him.
Yeah, I always think like the explosive. It was kind of like the Hampton discussion last year. Like Hampton was like really like explosive player, but like he's big. I think there's like the one thing with KC. I think he's like a really efficient like runner. He kind of just like glides. Man, his punt return stuff. Like I don't know if you've seen that. His punt and kick return. Like he is flying by people on that. I really was impressed. I definitely see. What all the hype is about on that explosiveness. And if he tested, by the way, that's the thing. He didn't even test. If he tested, I think he would be like even more hyped than he is right now. Basically, with the data that we got, the eye stuff, he would probably be in the high 4.3s. Like maybe be able to scratch that 4.39 or even higher on him. So like that's the kind of speed that we're talking about here.
I really didn't see that when I watched them. I mean, maybe it's just one of those things where your eye kind of gets tricked, or I mean, obviously it is subjective because you saw something very different. Yeah. So I mean, it's funny like how two people could see this, see the same thing and have like such a different perception of it. My prediction would be if and when he runs his 40, I bet the time is worse than most people are expecting. But hey, I mean, I could be completely wrong here. Is he expected to run the 40 at some point?
No, he had like a knee scope thing, so he didn't do any testing. But like that was the big thing for Hampton too. When you look at his, he did actually test well on the 40. But if you actually just look at their in-game speed, like his like in-game stuff is like insane, man. Like I go back and get. You might have to go to Dr. Fortune here, and does he do eyes? I mean, I don't know.
I need a new prescription.
I don't know. Yeah, what I mean, maybe I'll go back and look. I'm not sure. How he doesn't look like he is friggin' fast. Like it is.
I wanted to love him. Like I really did. Like I don't know if just like the bar was so high with my expectations, but I was just left feeling underwhelmed. Like it surprised me.
So let's move on to the 108 here. Who do you have your 108, Dan?
Yeah, this is a player I am really excited about, and I did really love what I saw when I watched him. Omar Cooper, wide receiver out of Indiana. Yeah, I just loved everything about him. Everything when I watched him. He's got that swagger, that confidence that I love to see when I watch a player. He's great after the catch. I saw some great contact balance. I mean, he just looks like a baller, a playmaker. I mean, he had this incredible touchdown where he kept his feet in bounds. I can't remember what team it was against, but I was just really impressed watching him. And I mean, he played 80% of snaps out wide his first 2 seasons. So he's got that, inside and out ability where, he can line up in the slot. He can line up on the outside. I was getting some AJ Brown vibes when I watched him. So, I mean, he's a player definitely getting a lot of hype right now, definitely getting steamed up. I mean, he feels like almost like a lock to be a first round draft pick in the NFL draft at this point. I'd be pretty surprised if he wasn't. So yeah, definitely one of these like helium players right now. I'm really excited about him. I definitely feel like he's a really good value here at the 108.
Yeah, no, I agree with Omar Cooper here too. The one thing is, KC. I do prefer KC right now. I don't know that can change as long as there's like nothing crazy in maybe like the landing spot could be something that could maybe flip that, because I do really like Omar Cooper as well. Again, the big thing with him, yards after the catch. He still tested pretty good. I think 4.4s for pretty good in the testing department. Yeah, he was a player that didn't look like he flew off the screen for speed for me, but he makes up with it for that shiftiness, that breaking tackle ability. Like really, really good stuff in that department. Again, I think there's some pretty good stuff on his analytical profile. Nothing again that's like suggesting he's gonna be a superstar, but you do see a lot of these guys with these kind of profiles just get to another level when they get used properly in the NFL. I think that could kind of be the case here with Omar Cooper. Again, I do think there is some kind of, maybe you look at some comps, there are some comps that, maybe he's a little bit in that bust range too. I do think like he really could be one of those superstars or kind of bust type receivers, though I feel like maybe he's kind of being tagged as like I don't know what your perception is on this. To me, he's kind of being like, he's a safe pick. Maybe because he's a first-round receiver. I see a little bit of boom bust ability to his profile, which I like. I mean, again, I like seeing some upside with the reception. Yeah, if they can work him inside on an NFL team on a good offense, that's some really exciting stuff that you want your fantasy receiver to be doing. Yeah, big question is can he play in those two receiver sets? Might be dependent on what team he goes to, but yeah, as we had in the notes here, like 80+% snaps his first 2 seasons out wide, then was like basically a predominant slot player at Indiana. So yeah, that was actually the big thing with Casey Concepcion as well. Played outside a lot, then or I think he played slot a lot, and then he was able to move outside. So you see that inside out ability again. That's exactly what you want to see. I like Omar Cooper, basically, is how I'll put it. I think he's a really solid 108 in this class. I think after this pick, for pre-draft, there could be, I think there's probably a tier break here for me at this 108. But again, post-NFL draft, I think this tier definitely could expand pending landing spots. Draft capital, do we want to add anything on Omar Cooper?
No.
Awesome. So I'll move on to my 109. And I did start to have a little bit tough of a choice but 0.75 premium. I'm going to trust on Eli Stowers. I will say a lot of green flags, a lot of red flags on Eli Stowers. I can see him being a player that a lot of people, really love or really do not like. Part-time player for his college team. So converted quarterback as well. He's basically still learning the position. But wow, I mean, I don't know if we have the yards per route run stuff or the splits for him. It's off the charts here. We can reference that maybe in our next video. Yeah, the yards per route run, the efficiencies are insane for him. The issue is he going to be like Dalton Kincaid at the NFL level? His blocking stuff is really bad. I mean, from all the sources that I'm not scouting his blocking reps. They're basically saying he's like a receiver blocking. Definitely a concern for how much you can get out there. You need to be out there to score fantasy points. However, if again he can find that right landing spot where they can use him properly and try to not force him to block, but really kind of make him like this kind of slot like tight end kind of flex player rather than like the inline guy. Yeah, there could be a lot of fantasy greatness here. I see. Like really really good efficiency stuff. Tested really, really well, was overshadowed by Sadiq. He was also one of the better testing tight ends ever. I think he broke Sadiq's vertical jump right after him, or maybe it was vice versa. But Stowers is a tight end I could easily see jumping Sadiq. Again, with that right landing spot, maybe being more productive in his rookie season. Like I would lean Sadiq. Obviously, right now we have him ranked there. I would almost argue Stowers could be a little bit more of a value later in the first round. I also don't know that you need to take Stowers here at the 109 in some of your own rookie drafts. I could see people being a little spooked on him, and you might actually be able to get him at 111, 112 in some leagues, especially in lower tight end premium like a 0.5. So a player I'm intrigued by. Dan, what do you think about Stowers?
Are there some concerns about his draft capital? Because I feel like that's what I've heard a little bit. So if we're making the pick today, this could be a risky one. Like if you're taking him here at the 109, and then I don't know if this is an exact possibility, but like let's just say he ends up like not getting drafted until like round 3, like round 4, something crazy like that. I mean, we do see people that fall in the draft unexpectedly. I mean, it happens like pretty much every year. So I based on what I'm hearing, I think there's some concern for that. I don't know like what the floor is. I mean, obviously, I don't think it would be much past like day 2. I mean, I think he's expected to go in first 2 days of the NFL draft, he's in all likelihood. But it does feel like there's maybe some risk there, at least more so relative to the other players around here in this in the rookie draft that you're choosing between. So I do think there's some risk there. When I watched him, I mean, he didn't like jump off the screen, but he definitely looks like a really solid receiving tight end. So if he gets the draft capital, I mean, that's probably, one of my biggest concerns. But if he gets the draft capital, if he's at least, day 2 pick, I mean, preferably like, round 2 would be nice if he gets that kind of draft capital. But if he gets solid enough draft capital, in a tight end premium league of 0.75 or higher, I mean, late first round, as we're getting into the late first round, I'm definitely willing to take a swing on him.
Yeah, as far as I know right now, he's easily a top 40, 50 projected player, and I will not be shocked if he sneaks into round one. We saw
Really?
that with
Wow.
Dalton
Okay.
Kincaid. Yeah, we saw that with Dalton Kincaid. I think he's also
Yeah.
just, yeah, again, pretty Dalton Kincaid in the terms of just like, he's more like that receiving type threat. And remember Dalton Kincaid, he was a pretty big surprise in round one, and he was kind of like early 20s there. So I do see that as a range of outcomes. Again, I think the betting favorite is more the second round, early second round. To maybe mid, but that's where my grasp is, and I think that's where the rookie mock draft database has them. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about that drafting right now. I would actually say the players that we're going to be looking at after, I have more concerns about their draft capital beginning now. Maybe with exception to like a player. So yeah, 110. You're up, Dan. And actually, here's a player that has been pushing up boards. You want to say him real quick?
Yeah, and I'm excited about this player, Jadarian Price, the running back out of Notre Dame. I loved what I saw when I watched this guy. I mean, the vision is awesome. The speed is awesome. He also just takes great angles, like when he runs. I mean, I think that's why he's or part of why he's such a great home run hitter. He just takes just the right angle, and he seems to hit just the right hole. And then when you add his speed to the equation, you see all these long touchdown runs. So, I love what I saw there. I also thought it was really interesting that on only 22 kick returns in his career, scored 3 touchdowns. I mean, that is absolutely absurd. I mean, think about that. That's basically returns the kickoff for a touchdown 1 out of 7 times. I mean, that is absolutely bonkers. And I really think that a lot of what makes him such a great kick returner are the same qualities that makes him such a great running back. Because, I mean, think about what you need to be a great kick returner. You need to have that vision, the speed, taking the right angle. I absolutely love him. He looks explosive as hell. My comp for him is Kenneth Walker. I saw a lot of Kenneth Walker when I watched him, just in terms of that home run hitter. And, I mean, yeah, it would seem like almost, I don't know, in a way too perfect, but on the other hand, do we actually want him to land with the Seahawks? Because, yeah, it was pretty frustrating, with that committee with Walker and Charbonnet for a few years there. But, hey, at least Charbonnet's injured right now. I mean, he tore his ACL in January. So, I mean, come on. He's got to be out of commission for a while here. I know he's expected to play at some point in 2026, but even when he comes back, I mean, he's definitely not going to be like the, old Charbonnet right away. So, at the minimum, I mean, there should be a great runway if Price does land to Seattle, which some are speculating at with the 32nd pick of the draft, in round 1 here with the Seahawks. If he does land there, I mean, he definitely has a chance to have the backfield to himself. I know he wasn't a full-time player in college. So I don't know. I mean, we can debate like whether he has that, whether he has the ability to do that in the NFL. But there should at least be the opportunity there, because I don't think if he did land with the Seahawks, I don't think there'd be much competition there. But regardless of where he lands, he's a player I'm really excited about.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to be so excited about Jadarian Price. He's a guy, yeah, I definitely see the appeal when watching him. Some big plays ability. Again, he's not the fastest guy, though. He's got that good vision. He looks like a decent tackle breaker to me. It's funny, he's not that big of a back, but he looks like a big back to me. He's kind of the opposite of like Travis Etienne, who kind of looks like a small back, but like Travis Etienne's actually really sneakily big, height and weight. I thought, Price was the opposite of that. I thought he looked like friggin' Nick Chubb out there or something, like size-wise. He definitely isn't. But yeah, I mean, like my big concerns with Jadarian Price aren't really like what I'm seeing him do. Again, obviously, like Jeremiah Love, he's not going to outplay him. We know he's not as good as a back. So yeah, there are some excuses there. It kind of reminds me of like the Roschon Johnson thing. That's the first thing when looking into Jadarian Price that I was getting flashbacks to. And I believed. I was like, wow, Roschon Johnson. I think he is probably better than in the draft capital projection suggests otherwise right now. But one of the things that Roschon Johnson had that I really liked was the receiving ability, which Jadarian Price is like non-existent right now. In fact, I think PFF, take it for what you will, had him as basically like, I mean, one of the worst pass blocking running backs in this class, if not like the worst. So like, again, I want to look in a little bit more into that, see if that's accurate. But basically, there's major pass blocking concerns right now for me. And receiving ability, like, I don't even know if he can do it. He wasn't even asked to do it in college, basically. Like the sample size is like almost nothing. So and it's not like it's not like Love was like lighting it up with receptions or anything like that. So
yeah, exactly.
It's not like there was an excuse for like that way.
I mean, my understanding is that Notre Dame doesn't naturally throw to its running backs a lot.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they forced it a little bit with Love just to kind of help his, NFL draft stock, his profile and everything like that, because they wanted, NFL teams to know, yes, he can do it. So I think they kind of forced it a little bit with Love just, for that reason. But yeah, they didn't do it with Price because obviously he's the RB2 on the team. So I think that's more situational. I mean, obviously you'd love to see it to like know he can do it. I'm not that concerned about it, but yeah, I mean, if you're nitpicking here, yeah, it would be nice if that was something we saw in college.
Yeah, he's just such an outlier of a case because you don't normally see a back that's. I mean, really, we should talk about his draft capital. I mean, in Peter Schrager's, again, highly respected mocks, he actually was a 32nd pick in that one. So I personally would be surprised if he's a first round pick. I just like have a hard time seeing this profile go in round one. I mean, like Breece Hall wasn't even a first round pick. Kenneth Walker wasn't a first round pick. That's I don't know if you mentioned that's your comp. I think you did. Yeah, I'd have a hard time seeing him as a first round pick, but I mean, like, apparently it's on the cards right now. So yeah, you definitely have to respect that in the mock here. But he is like an outlier profile. So yeah, I don't know if we really can take all the stuff like the receiving. You talk about Kenneth Walker. He was not asked to catch the ball at all in Michigan State. But, I mean, he does it just fine in the NFL when asked to. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty skeptical of Jadarian Price. Again, I do think, like, this is pretty warranted given, like this 110 capital right now. I might even just kind of, like, click him here as well pre-draft right now. But I'm not, like, super excited about that at all. At the moment. So yeah, he's a kind of a player. I'm excited to see kind of what happens. I might be really lower than market on him though. There's a potential with where he lands, draft capital, because I'm just not crazy about him. And I might just like some running backs in the second round, like more than him flat out. Yeah, depending on what happens in the draft. So yeah, I think that covers Jadarian Price. Yeah, let's see what the 111. I am taking a player that I am actually not crazy about either in Denzel Boston, who, like, honestly, I don't really have much to say about him. Kind of the reason he's here, he's a projected rookie round one pick, though I think he's losing that buzz right now at the moment. And if he does, yeah, I mean, he might not be a first round rookie pick for me in that case. You got team is going to be a big factor where he lands. Yeah, I mean, his analytics and stuff, he actually got outproduced his freshman year by Jeremy Bernard, which was pretty interesting. I don't want to put like too much stock into that, but a lot of times, again, these breakout age and stuff like that, by the way, that was the team, the Washington Penix team, that had like all the three receivers that went in the top 3 rounds that year, Polk, McMillan, Odunze. So yeah, they were battling for wide receiver 4 duties there. Is interesting. Yeah, there's nothing really pops off the screen with Denzel Boston. He's kind of that big, sacrificial kind of X player. It's generally not a very good pick in rookie drafts, is what I've noticed. Again, I'm not gonna get too nuanced into look at this on him. Look, I think Jacob has expressed some zone feel. I think that's important if that's the case. I think if that is the case too, maybe teams then might take him in round 1. So he's a player I do want to look a little bit more into. I'm not crazy about him right now. That's really all I have to say about Denzel Boston.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the exact same way about him. Like, he didn't really jump out when I watched him. Yeah, there's just like not that much I'm excited about, other than I guess he's got the NFL pedigree from his dad, David Boston, who was an awesome receiver at Ohio State and even into the NFL for a bit with the Cardinals. So I'm old enough to actually remember. Having David Boston on some fantasy teams. So yeah, that sounds kind of crazy. But in any case, I'm not that excited about his son. And I think by the time the NFL draft comes and our rookie drafts come, I wouldn't even be surprised if he falls in the NFL draft possibly. But either way, I I can just imagine him falling him in rookie drafts. I could just kind of see him being this receiver that's like, yeah, I guess I should start to consider him, but I don't really want to take him. So I could see him being that like Keon Coleman type.
That's exactly what it is.
That falls to like the early second. And then I could see some rookie drafts where he's like falling. And then finally they're like, okay, I guess I finally just got to take him here at the 204 because like no one else wants him or whatever. But I wouldn't even be surprised if, he's not even going in round one of rookie drafts by the time all is said and done here.
Yeah, I think that's why this is a decent ranking for him, especially pre-draft, again, because we don't know any of the landing spot. At least if he's a round one receiver, I think he pretty much has to be a first-round rookie pick in this draft. I wouldn't, nothing my eyes or anything, like I would just take him because he's a round one receiver, basically. Unless there's like really big surprises at the running back or other position. But he's a fine like late-round pick if he is a first-round rookie receiver. I mean, like, again, you can't really let that in this kind of quality a class fall to the second round. That would be a really good value, though. So yeah, I mean, he's just kind of like I'm just kind of like obliged to take him here. Like I just kind of have to with his pre-draft capital. There was one thing I was going to add. I can't remember it now, but it was going to be something positive towards Denzel Boston. But it was the Keon Coleman thing, where he was kind of like talked about as a first round rookie pick, and I took him our first Grease Bowl rookie or not rookie, just like rookie draft at 205 because I'm like, yeah, I can't let this guy fall any longer. People like Keon Coleman. I ended up flipping him, so yeah, I mean if he falls out of the first round rookie of the rookie NFL draft, and he starts going in the second round of rookie mocks or the rookie Dynasty drafts, I actually might be kind of interested in him if he gets the right landing spot. It just as a guy that's like, all right, he might not like if he does anything, people might remember that potential first round buzz. I don't know. I guess like I'm not excited about him, but I do see some appeal in actually like clicking him in a draft if he's affordable, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Let's move on to your 112.
112, I'm taking another running back that I like, Mike Washington Jr., running back out of Arkansas. And my comp for him, what I saw when I watched him, I saw Derrick Henry out there. I mean, this guy, he looks just when I watched him, like he looked huge to me. I looked it up. Apparently he's only 6'2", 228 pounds. I'm surprised. Like he looked even bigger than that to me. He just looks like a load to bring down. He's fast as hell. He had an absurd 40 time that he ran, 4.33, which is just beyond insane. That's a good 40 time just in general, of course. And then you factor in his size, 6'2", 228 pounds. Like, you're not supposed to be able to run that fast, like, when you're that big. So that is absolutely absurd. He looks like a stud. He looks like an NFL running back. I really liked what I saw. He looks pretty nimble. I feel like I saw good lateral agility that I was surprised to see from someone like him. Like much better than someone like Omarion Hampton. He seems like pretty stiff, and that was something that I didn't like about Hampton coming out. But Washington has that agility. Like I feel like he can make those cuts. He can even make you miss a little bit. He can change direction and find the hole and get away from the defender and then, turn on that insane speed. And then who the hell wants to tackle this guy once he gets ahead of steam? So, yeah, I really like him. He's definitely been getting some hype, some buzz, and I can see why. I'm pretty excited about him. I feel like to get this guy at the 112, it feels like there's some upside here.
Yeah, he's a guy that initially caught my eye. I was pretty impressed, though, again, I'm no running back scout. When I've been watching other people that I would trust talk about him, there are some concerns about him, and I could maybe the upright kind of running style that many have alluded to is maybe why like the Derrick Henry with the size and the speed and the upright running style kind of comes to mind as comp. It's funny because mine was actually Devon Chain, but massive, but 6'2", 228, and the reason why is when you watch him, the way that he glides on the field, like, when you're watching Devon Chain, he literally just, like, glides on the football field. Like he could, like, be going sideways, but, like, sprinting full speed ahead. Like, it makes, like, no sense. Like, the way that he moves, it's kind of, like, almost like he's on ice or something. Like, that's kind of how I've saw on Washington when he would get those breakout runs. It was like, holy crap, man. Like, this guy's moving. One of the big concerns with him is, yeah, he's one of those huge, breakaway runners, but like he didn't really have any breakaway runs in college, which is a concern. He also wasn't a big like workload guy, even though he's like a big veteran, and there was a lot of fumbling issues with him, which is not something that you want to see with a running back, especially like kind of in this profile. So there are definitely some red flags with Washington. A lot of upside with this profile though, and I heard he was I haven't confirmed this, but I heard he was a converted receiver but I looked into his college profile and he was never listed as a receiver. I don't know. Maybe there's something more to that. I wouldn't take that for fact right now, but he actually had that quarterback. I'm completely blank. Jamar Jackson. I don't know what his name is. Something like that. He ran like the 4.3 40 that teams are trying to convert him to like receiver or whatever. That was his quarterback. So his quarterback was not accurate like throwing to him. So like I think there was like more receiving ability than was like asked of him, and obviously a scrambling quarterback's not going to check down. So yeah, he's again just one of these really really interesting profiles where it's like I mean I kind of feel like the same about him as I do kind of like Jadarian Price. Like I'm like I see all the upside in this profile, but there's a lot of like red flags. Yeah, Mike Washington, I think this is probably the range he goes. This is the range I would have him ranked right now. I'm a little nervous about it, but I don't know if at this moment in the draft that there's like a player for sure better than him. That makes sense. So yeah, right. I definitely don't mind that ranking on Mike Washington. Anything else you want to add on him?
No.
Awesome. We'll move to, this is where it starts getting a little funky, and I think a lot of people take this as like a negative of this draft, is like, I don't know who to pick. I almost see it as a positive, because again, these picks are really, really devalued. My 201 for now, again, this is not confident at all, and there might be a player that some people are expecting to be a first-round rookie mock here. We'll discuss that a little bit later when he comes up. I have Emmett Johnson here, who, again, on some of these tape guys don't love him. We had in here kind of like a Bucky Irving Kyron because of his size. But if you watch the Josh and Hayden video, again, trust those guys and their eyes and what they do. They said, yeah, he's kind of like at best like a discount version of those guys. So there's some pass protection concerns. He's not as physical as you'd want. But man, there's a lot of, I think he had 46 receptions in college last year. Like that's the kind of profile you like to see. He was a workhorse, had 15 touchdowns. One big thing that translates, and why I really like a back like Emmett Johnson in the second round of these rookie drafts, one of the biggest things that translates from college at the running back position is just touchdowns. Like just the raw touchdowns you score. For one reason or another, that's something that actually translates. You like to see that on his profile. Yeah, I think he had like 18 total touchdowns last year. Absolute workhorse. Again, his testing wasn't amazing. I think that could be kind of a positive, and yeah, maybe that Bucky or Kyron sense where he's gonna be going later in rookie drafts because of it. Whereas if he tested amazingly, he'd probably be a guaranteed like first round rookie draft pick if he blew up the combine. So I'm definitely intrigued by Emmett Johnson. I will say there are still some backs here that I think could easily